What did we learn from all the craziness we saw this year in Toronto's real estate market? We know that property values and sales jumped all over the place, but things could have actually been much worse. So in this video, I'm going to share with you the biggest takeaways we hopefully learned this year and the reasons why Toronto is still a great city to be in. Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, we're going to go over the weekly market update as we normally do. But in addition to that, we're also going to reflect on some of the biggest lessons we should all take away from what we saw happen with Toronto's property market this year. And this is important to look at because we can always speculate on what's going to happen, but quite honestly, we never really know for certain what's going to happen in the future, even if it's just 1 month from now. And I started this YouTube channel around the same time the pandemic hit Toronto, and I think my videos have evolved a little bit since then. And I wanted to share with you one of the first videos I put out on YouTube. Check it out.
Hey guys, one question that I wanted to address that I'm getting a lot these days. What's going to be the impact of the coronavirus on the housing market? We are experiencing a pretty active winter, multiple offer situations on some properties. We're just getting into the springtime now too, so expect a very active spring market. Prices have not gone anywhere but up ever since the heated market back in 2017. The impact of the coronavirus, it's going to be really hard to distinguish what the impact will be, especially as we get into the spring market.
I remember filming that video and just being in my car and saying to myself, let's do this, because getting in front of a camera and talking to everyone on the internet isn't exactly something I would normally do. But it turned out to be pretty fun, and it brought me to this video, which is the 50th video I'll be posting on this channel, and lots more to come in 2021. But before we get into it, I'm running a contest for the end of the year. If you haven't already, check out the video in the link up top so you can enter to win a gift card I'm giving away in the new year. All you have to do is subscribe to the channel, watch the video, which I'll link down in the description below as well, and post a comment in the video. Each comment counts as a single entry, so good luck. Okay, so what is the first biggest takeaway from this year? Here it is. The condo market is not invincible. It was always believed that condo prices would just keep going up, and they did for the longest time, which had speculators wondering, when is the bubble bursting? And we can say for certain now the condo market is not invincible, but it made sense why people thought this way simply because of supply and demand. Toronto is a major city where its population continues to grow, which means there's always going to be a demand for housing, and some of the most affordable housing options are condos. But when the world is impacted by a global pandemic, even the condo market is vulnerable to taking a hit. Let's take a look at condo prices and how they trended throughout the entire year. At the beginning of the year, there was a large delta in condo prices from last year to this year. Had there been no pandemic, I can only imagine that the difference would have remained more or less unchanged throughout the year. But prices came down, which actually didn't last as long as many thought it would. Prices started to climb back up, creating that gap in prices from last year again. But during the fourth quarter of this year, and where we are now, prices are actually dipping below prices we saw last year. Last week, condos sold for an average price of $610,000. The overall trend shows that prices are still going down. But compared to last year, condo prices are actually up 6.7%. And it's expected that prices would be down during December, but the big surprise and takeaway is that the condo market is not invincible. If you're a condo owner who is thinking of selling, consider holding off until around the end of the first quarter of 2021 to understand where the market is trending and to potentially get the best value for your home. But if you're on the other side of the transaction and you're a buyer, right now is still possibly a great time for you to get into the market while prices are down. But the same advice doesn't apply to single-family homes. Although the gap did close in a bit during the pandemic, single-family home prices are still higher on average compared to last year. The only time we saw them dip below prices from 2019 was during the early weeks of the pandemic. After that, they remained rather consistent throughout the year with very little change in the overall trend. The average price last week was just under $1.5 million based on the latest sales data available. And overall, home prices are up 11.8% compared to last year. And I thought it'd be fun to share with you some cool facts. There were 12 homes that sold on MLS this year for more than $10 million in Toronto. That's 0.08% of all homes that sold this year. 11 of them were sold in central Toronto, and 4 of those 11 sold in Toronto's well-known Bridle Path area. Only one of those 12 was sold outside of central Toronto in the west end of the city in the Kingsway area. Combined, those 12 homes have 66 bedrooms, 93 bathrooms, and 181 parking spaces. Altogether, their combined market price was $166.7 million worth of real estate. And if you thought that was a big number, wait till you hear this. They had had a combined annual property tax of $737.5 million. And I think it's safe to say that the new and previous owners of these homes were not really under a lot of financial stress during the pandemic. But before we get into it, give this video a thumbs up if you're gaining value and learning something new, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well. Okay, so the second biggest takeaway I have for us this year is that the Canadian government has massive control over home buyer and seller confidence. There were three ways this was made evident throughout the pandemic. In March, sales plummeted and real estate trading was more or less no longer happening. And with no time wasted, the Bank of Canada stepped in and made 3 drops to the key interest rate in a single month, bringing it down from 1.75 to 0.25%, and has held steady at this rate for the last 9 months. By reducing the rate, this essentially increases one's ability to borrow from a lender and also changes how much they can borrow, thus reinvigorating home buyer confidence to get into the market. There were also several stimulus packages that continued to be available, and mortgage deferral was a popular option among several Canadians. In fact, Canadian banks still have over 254,000 mortgages on payment deferral. But despite homeowners being able to defer mortgages, some might still be in a position where they are forced to sell their homes or part of their investment portfolio. Home sales are still relatively strong. The only time home sales were down compared to last year was for a 3-month period when the pandemic first influenced the property market and both sellers and buyers lost confidence. After that, home sales began to rise to more normalized levels and followed what was more or less a regular trend compared to last year. And last week, 117 homes sold. Overall, home sales are up by about 4.1% compared to last year. And just like we saw condo prices suffer, condo sales also did not have a strong performance this year. You can see that condo sales stayed relatively consistent with what we saw last year, which isn't the trend most people were speculating, considering that sales were about 22% higher than last year before the pandemic hit. For about 5 months, sales volumes were more or less the same last year during the same period, but since November, sales have actually gone back up, so I'm really interested to see what direction sales will actually go in the new year. Okay, now just for fun, let me know in the comments how many people you think took possession of their new homes in Toronto on Christmas Day this year. This is different from the number of homes that sold on Christmas Day. This is the number of people moving on Christmas. I'll give you one hint, it's less than 50. Let me know in the comments what you think and watch to the very end of this video to get the answer. Okay, so I also think one variable the property market highly depends on is international travel, as it impacts home sales and also the rental market, which now also brings me to the third lesson from this year. International travel and rent prices are intrinsically linked to each other. Property investors had problems renting out their units for what was at the time their market rent values, and this resulted in the reduction of rent prices by about 20% compared to last year. You'd essentially be saving an average of $520 per month if you rented a place in Toronto right now versus if you signed a lease agreement last year at this time. That's more than $6,000 in savings for a 1-year lease. And one of the major reasons why rents fell down so much is because of the restriction on international travel. Without the increase in population from new immigrants and international students, it caused the demand in the rental market to drop. The last 2 graphs we'll look at before getting into the fourth and final lesson are how new listings trended this year. For the end of the year, we started to see new listings hitting the market getting outpaced by the number of listings getting taken off the market. It could be that homeowners are having no luck selling their homes and holding off until the new year. The fourth and final lesson that I think we should all take away this year is something that I say quite often, and that is we cannot time the real estate market. The obvious example of this was earlier this year during spring. What was likely going to be another record-breaking market for sales and home prices, the exact opposite happened instead. If you're a homeowner who's thinking of selling and you have the luxury of time on your side, waiting isn't such a bad idea right now, especially if your property is a condo. If your goal is to maximize the amount of money that goes into your pockets from the sale, you might net a higher sale price if you wait another 3 to 6 months. If you're a buyer getting into the market, I think now is still a great time as home prices take their time to correct. Okay, so if you've gotten this far in the video, first of all, thank you so much for watching to this point. And now secondly, I'll share with you exactly how many people took possession of their new homes on Christmas Day this year. And it was just 1. This condo at Yonge and Queen sold for $775,000 on December 16th, and the new owner takes possession on Christmas Day. Not only is that an insanely fast closing period, but it's also definitely a nice Christmas gift to receive, especially after the crazy year we went through. Okay, so now here's a quick recap from today's market update. Prices of single-family homes have been floating around the same average for several months now, and sales are higher than they were this time last year. Home listings are down and getting outpaced by what's being taken off the market. Condo prices are down to levels what we saw last year, which creates an opportunity for those looking to get into the market. Condo sales are also down back to levels we saw week over week last year. And just like single family homes, condo listings are down with more getting taken off the market. This was a very different year to say the least, and I'm hoping everyone watching this video learned something new today. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Happy New Year, guys. Thank you for watching to the very end, and I'll see you in the new year.